In the previous lecture, we have learned about what is the protein and what are the protein the structure, and also how that protein structure is supporting for its functionality. Because when we talk about the protein, there are basically 4 type structures. So what are those, students? What are those 4 types of structure of the proteins? What are those types? No one can hear me? Can't you hear me? What are the 4 type structures? So what is the problem? Can't you hear me? Primary, secondary, tertiary, and quaternary, right? 4 types of structures, you know. So when we talk about these structures, that what is the basic feature of the primary structure? What is the basic feature of the primary structure? Quickly type or quickly tell me, because time is important for all the people. What is the feature of the basic structure? I think it's better to tell me so unmute the phone and unmute the microphone and tell me what is the basic feature of the structure. Linear sequence of the amino acids. So that is the feature of the primary structure. The thing is actually, so the important thing, as I mention you all the time, that the slides are only the guidance for what we want to learn. But the slides are not directly tell the answers for all the questions what I am asking, or what the questions are available in the situation. Therefore, you have to pick the situation, you have to get the information, but you have to transfer or convert it to the correct as a correct answer to the question. So that is most important, that we are learning we learn 4 structures, and if you don't know about the how to use the information about the 4 structures to use in or discuss about the function of the protein, or discuss about the how the behavior of the proteins, discuss of the properties of the protein, then it is not a useful thing, right? It is actually no meaning. So you are wasting time, I am wasting time, the government wasting time, but still you don't know how to apply this situation to the other one. So especially under I always tell you that, and even in the principles of food science or this food chemistry course or the food analysis and quality assurance course, even I'm not going to use slides are only guidance for you, but you have to get the knowledge and then apply it to the correct point. So what are the features of the secondary structure? What are the features of the secondary structure? Let me know the answer. What is the answer? Alpha helix, beta sheet. So what is the alpha helix beta sheets? What is the how this structure is coming like that? You are correct. So alpha helix, beta helix it is not a feature of the. So what is the feature? So that is the important point. How these structures can be happen? Hmm? How that the structures are formed? Alpha helix, beta sheet structures. How it's formed? Hmm? What is the basic feature? By hydrogen bonding, right? At the first one, what is the feature? What is the bond is available there? There is only the peptide bond. That is why that the linear structure is coming. But normally the proteins are not, most of the time proteins are not available as a primary structure, because automatically they are bonding with they are having a hydrogen bonds. And then therefore it gives beta helix as a, beta sheet and alpha helix structure. Have you understood? Right. Then the other one is the globular structure, the tertiary structure. Then what will happen when it comes to the tertiary structure? So more complicated. Then what are the bonds? What are the bonds are there? Now peptide bonds are already there, hydrogen bonds are already there, and what are the other bonds? Right? Then sulfur bridges can be there. And what are the other bonds? Then, so without knowing this primary situation, so you can't understand what's going on, because now we are talking about the kind of a very molecular level thing, because we can't understand when we put the yogurt, when we take the milk and put some acidic or acid something, then you can see that the coagulation of the protein. Okay, that's correct. But the thing is, we have to learn about what is the reason for coagulation of the protein. Therefore, if you know that in other situation, if the milk is there, that let's say now the industry, you have observed that, okay, milk is coagulated, then what is the reason? So we can see that milk coagulated, but we should have to know what would be the reason for the coagulation of the milk. If not so, we can't provide the answer for the question. The other thing is, okay, when we are doing some product development thing, so we have noticed that when we use the soy milk, one time that's getting it's a kind of curd, or getting it's a solid or it's precipitated. So we should have to know. So what happened? Why is it precipitated? It's I have seen that's like a very liquidy and very suspended mixture was there. Then what happened? Why it was precipitated? So kind of answers or the answers should come to your mind. If not so, you are no meaning of learning the food chemistry. So application is you need not to apply it by yourself, but whatever the thing so after observing the situation, you should have to understand that now that's happened because of this situation. It's happened. So that is why I can see this kind of observation. I can get this kind of observation, right? So therefore, I thought that you have gone through these things, and I'm not sure whether are you getting notes even not from the lecture. Are you getting notes? Right. Then because of actually the functionality of the protein basically depend on the structure of the proteins. So what are the basic structure of the protein? There are 4 structures. The behavior of these structures are basically supporting for the functionality of the protein. So today we are going to learn some about the functionality of a protein, and I hope that you have already gone through the material, reading material. I have sent you in the morning. I think you have got some idea about that. Therefore, starting from that point, let's learn about the protein functionality. So the functionality of food protein, the physical and chemical properties influence the performance of the protein food system. Physical and chemical properties of the protein. So what are the physical properties? What are the chemical properties? What are the chemical changes we can do to the protein, or what are the physical changes we can do to the protein? So when we talk about these things, when we talk about the processing, or the preparation, storage and consumption, all three stages that the different type of influences we make for a protein. What are the processing? You have learned about the unit operation of the processing. What are those? List out some are the processing steps. So the unit operation we do in the industry. List out unit operations. The processing, what are the processing mean? What kind of processing we do? What type of processing we can do? What are the preparation we do? What are the storage we use? What are the consumption we consume? What is our consumption pattern? Sorting, drying, peeling, and thermal processing. Okay, then the mechanical agitation and size reduction. So those are some actions: shear forces, concentration, salting, and putting some sugars or lipids, and the pasteurization. Right, now that means you can understand that there are a lot of action we can take in the food industry as a processing step. The blanching, during the blanching we not only use hot water, we add some additives there, and then we blanch it. Then we can when we agitate it, or we blend it, or we can aeration and baking, or we use the low temperature, we use the middle temperature, we use the high temperature, and those are the things we do, because without subjecting our raw material to this kind of processing, we can't keep the product, or we can't eat the product. In the case of ice cream preparation, we do freezing, and also we do mixing, and also we add some other ingredient during the processing. We add some the other ingredients. Maybe it's a lipid, maybe it's a sugar, maybe it's water, maybe the colorants or the aroma, or the leavening agent, or the preservatives. A lot of things we can add. Therefore, now you can understand, when we do such kind of changes, definitely, as earlier you have learned about the water, and definitely the protein also, the type of the molecule, it can be changed. Therefore, the protein can be changed, and finally you will end up with the different type of the product. So if the protein is not changing, if the protein molecule is it is as it is, it's not happening, no hydrogen bond formation, no sulfur links, no any other the folding, or nothing happen, then what will happen? Can you come out with that different or the food matrix? You can't. Therefore, physical and chemical properties influence the performance of proteins in food system during processing, preparation, storage, consumption, handling. So the lot of things are there, and therefore that is the basic information about the functionality. Functionality is not happening if we are not doing anything to the protein, right? If we are not doing anything to the protein, functionality is not happening. So even if we talk about the milk, so if we are not doing anything, it's there on the, let's say it's a milk glass is there, it's there on the table. So we think, oh, we are not doing anything, so it's keeping like that. No. So sometimes if we are not doing anything ourselves purposely, but the other ingredients or other components in the milk automatically start reaction and attack into the protein molecule. Accordingly, protein molecule will be changed, and that is why you can see, once you keep the product in a so the protein, let's say now the milk, and keep on the table. So the 2-3 days, you can see it's a coagulated milk there. You haven't done anything. But what's happened? The environmental microorganism attacked to the protein, and thereby, because they are the live features, therefore they start producing enzymes, or the enzymes or their action, because of their recreations, then pH will be goes down, and going down, therefore you can see finally reducing the pH means the protein gets coagulated. So that is the thing going on. So therefore we have to now keeping those things in our mind. So that means that physical and chemical properties influence the performance of protein in the food matrix. So during these things, and therefore we can see like that. So keep the protein as it is, or as it is, I mean, to, because proteins are important for the nutritional point of view as well as the functionality point of view in the food system, right? Food matrix. As a nutritional point of view, because we want to eat protein because of getting some nutrition, as well as there are a list of things we want to satisfy our mind, we want to reduce our hungry, and there are a lot of things that are there. That is why we want to eat protein, we want to take protein. Therefore basically proteins are important because of the nutritional point of view and the functional point of view, as well as the other one is it's satisfied our sensory attributes. Protein can be manipulated in various ways to give desired physical and structural attributes to foods, because this desired physical and structural attributes to the food in a different purposes. There may be different purposes: to keep it for a longer period, to increase the shelf life, to increase the eatability, or increase the all the sensory attributes, or the kind of lot of things are there, because we want to manipulate the protein to get these kind of attributes. Then, for example, that the emulsion, gels, sausages, surimi forms, increase viscosity or the mouthfeel. So for example, let's say you can most of the people may eat sausages. The sausages even having different type of structure. Some sausages are very soft, some are hard, some sausages are having cheese inside, or the taste is totally different, and aroma may be different. You can prepare the sausages by using different type of meat types. So the goat, or the lamb, or the beef, or chicken, there are different type of sausage, and the vegetable sausages also there having filling with the soy protein, and the emulsions are there. And surimi means that totally we prepare by using the fish proteins or the fish muscle, and it's by using the surimi we can prepare a different type of fish analogs, or the crab analog, crab taste one, or the crab analog, or the prawn analog, or the different things we can prepare by surimi. Then the forms are the kind of thing that we aerate or put air inside, and they trap the air, then we can come out with the foam. So we can increase the viscosity. How we can increase the viscosity of protein? So in the case of dehydration or the removing water, we can increase the viscosity of the protein. For example, in the milk, so you know that when we in the case of milk maid, or the concentrated milk is there, so the whipping cream is there. Those are the those are the products having increased viscosity. When we think about this protein based, all the type of products, or the meat, fish, then the milk, yogurt, and what are the milk powder, or the different type of things, sausages, what is the other, by using, we can prepare the things by using the soy things, and you can get the different mouthfeel. So think about that. Okay, when you eat meat, you can get the different mouthfeel. Fish, different. Egg, different. Boiled egg, different. Then the omelette, different. And milk, yogurt, milk powder, and drinking yogurt. The yogurt also, there are different type of yogurts, and those yogurts are also giving different type of mouthfeel. So now you can see basically these things are happening because of the protein. So the protein is a very, very important molecule, as well as the both they give the functionality of the food, or the different type of the food, or the protein can manipulate the food, and the other thing is the nutritional point of view. So how does structure relate to the functionality? Now we are going to talk about how the structure of the protein relate to the functionality. When we talk about the structures, there are 4 types of structures: primary, secondary, tertiary, and quaternary. So the quaternary is a type, I know 3D structure, and it's supporting a lot in a different situation. Right. Then the structure relate to the function, and that structure can be changed by changing 2 types of things. Structure can be changed. Structure of the protein can be changed by changing 2 types of things. The one is intrinsic factors. The other one is the extrinsic factors. The intrinsic factors are the factors of the protein as it is, as a molecule inside the protein, or these things interesting. Extrinsic factors is what are the factors, or what are the changes we do from the outside to the protein molecules. The other one is the processing factors, that is also doing by from the environment, but processing factors we do by ourselves, right? Not happening automatically, we do it by ourselves, we do something. So these are the processing factors. So those are the 3 things, 3 factors we use to change, normally we use to change the protein functionality. So first we learn about the extrinsic factors. So there are a list of factors I have given you here: amino acid composition, conformation of structure, surface characteristic, isoelectric point, conjugated subunits, molecular size, and relative group. Right. Let's go through the one by one. So the first one is the amino acid composition. We know that the protein is not a one molecule of the amino acid. Basically, the primary structure of the protein is having a number of different type of amino acids, and even that each amino acid having a different type of tails. These tails are having different type of charge, and also these tails are having different type of the compounds. They are able to join with the other compounds, lipids. So the protein or lipids, so the carbohydrate or the another phytochemical, they can join with these amino acids can join in their tails. And therefore the amino acid composition, what are the amino acids used to prepare that protein molecule is basically changing the factors of we have learned about the factors, those factors of the food matrix, right? For example, if there is a protein is having amino acid with the basic amino acid, then definitely it's a work in a different way. On the other, hello, are you there? Yes, Sarah, can you hear me?
Yes, madam, I can hear you.
Right, okay. So a connection failure has happened, right? Okay, no problem. Students, can you hear me?
We can hear you, madam.
Right. So that is the amino acid composition. In the other case, that there are the amino acids, the small amino acids and the large amino acids, because you can see that the different, when you think about different amino acids, that the composition of amino acids in the protein, there are basic one, there are the acidic one, and also there are some neutral one and hydrophilic one, hydrophobic one. So those amino acids are playing in a different role. Therefore, amino acid composition will be basically effect for the protein functionality, right? We can learn it later on in detail, but I think you can understand because yesterday, even today morning, you have gone through the reading material. Therefore, you can get some idea. So if the amino acids are the basic one or the acidic one, its working way is different. The other one is the conformation of this or the structure of the protein. So there are the structures, primary, secondary, tertiary, and quaternary. Those structures are changing the protein functionality. So how it is working, how it is behave, how its properties change in the food system or food matrix can be changed with the conformation of the structure. The other one is surface characteristic. So I mentioned you that there is a hydrophobic one, hydrophilic one. The charge is important to keep protein soluble. For example, there is one special word, it's isoelectric point. So at the isoelectric point, that means isoelectric point and the pH get equal. When those things get equal, there is no net charge in the protein. Because there is no net charge, protein can be precipitate. Because if there is a net charge is there, then you know the protein is now it's a precipitate means in the water. Water has a high plus and minus charges. We learn about that because of its in the plus charges. That is why protein can make a hydrogen bond. And similarly, if the because of if the protein is not having a charge, then it is not it's not a soluble one. The protein is as it is, because if the charge is there only, it can soluble in the water. Therefore, the pH when at the point pi isoelectric point equal the pH, then no net charge and protein can be precipitate. The other one is a conjugated subunit. So the amino acid is having the tails. Those tails tails are having again the plus and minus charges. Therefore, the carbohydrates, the different types of carbohydrates are there, different types of lipids are there. Those and the different types of phytochemicals, different type of molecules are available in the system. Therefore, the protein can conjugated with these subunits, and it make another different situation. It produces a different situation in the food matrix. For example, in the case of if there's a oil and water is there in the system, that oil and water is not mixing with each other. At that time, if we add some protein, then that protein is having these kind of the plus minus charges. Then protein can hydrophilic and hydrophobic action. Then hydrophilic one is going to join with the water, and hydrophobic one is linked with the lipids. Thereby, that is why protein can act as emulsifier. Then you can see by adding this type of protein, you can make an emulsion, or you can make a bonds with each other. And especially in the other case, if the carbohydrates and lipids are there, those also supporting for this kind of a structure. The next one is molecular size. The viscosity of the protein will be dependent on the size of the protein, right? If the protein molecules are really big, then you can see that the bigger one can't move very easily, can't move. Therefore, the viscosity will be increased. If the smaller ones are there, then viscosity will be decreased. Therefore, the molecular size, globular molecular size, or finally, the globular molecular size is, if it is very high, then protein viscosity will be increased. It is depend on the different products. Some proteins are having a smaller molecule, and some proteins are having a higher molecule. In that situation, we can think about the viscosity. So here I will give you one question. Please write down the question. So the question is how the molecular size of the proteins can be measured. How does molecular size of the protein can be measured, or the molecular weight of the protein can be measured? Write down and give the answer. Then you can understand when we do this kind of experiment, then we can understand what are the molecular weights of the protein and or the amino acid. That means that the protein is having these kind of amino acid. Therefore, the protein structure or its molecular size is increased, right? Therefore, thereby viscosity can be changed. Then after that, you can search this information. After that, you can get some idea about that is the thing happening there, right? Next one is relative group, sulfur groups, disulfur bridges, chysine cross-linkage, like of the different groups are there. Then the relative groups of the relative groups of the amino acid or relative groups of the protein. We are talking about here as the intrinsic factors of the protein. As a molecule, what kind of factors are there to affect the protein functionality, right? Therefore, when I asked you to describe the intrinsic factors, you have to list down the factors as well as you have to explain by giving the example, because these are the intrinsic factors, and that is why protein can give or show the work with the different function, right? The other one is, next one is extrinsic factors. What are the factors coming from the environment? For example, pH affects for the charge of the protein, the temperature denature the breakdown the hydrogen bonds, as well as the rate of amount control. At higher temperature, get more hydrophobic interaction of the protein, and then the redox because of the hydrophobic structure. Here is a really important this point, in the high temperature get more hydrophobic interaction. Then what is the result of having hydrophobic interaction in a high temperature? What would be the result? Anyone can type it. If we increase the temperature of the protein based product, what will happen is a break the hydrogen bond, and also rate and amount control. At higher temperatures get more hydrophobic interaction. If there is a more hydrophobic interaction, what would be the results? What would be the result? What would be the result? Yes, Sarah, there are very few. The students' number is very low for the lecture. It's a 59 out of 97. So what would be the less soluble in water? Denaturation of protein molecules. My question is, once the temperature increase, hydrophobic interaction is getting higher, then what can be happen? Denaturation can be happen, less soluble in water. Instead of these two things, you can see some other thing. So that is there you can see the protein denaturation is a different one. You can see the folding of one. Destruction of enzyme activity, yes, it's also happening. So the enzymes are also the protein. So what's happening is the destruction, right? Because the structure of the enzymes will be changed. the protein's structure change. So it's getting more coagulated. So for example, think about if you are increasing the temperature, denaturation happen, but hydrophobic interaction is increased. That is why they want to get together and remove the water away. So that is why you can see the coagulation of the protein in the milk when you are heat it. So you can get the coagulation and the and even if you heat the meat, even you can see the water is going away. Meat get sting to each other. The fish or the any kind of protein, once you subject it to the heat, you can see it's getting together. So the temperature is denature the hydrogen bonds. Rate and amount we can control it. However, at higher temperatures get more hydrophobic interaction. That is why you can see once you fry the meat, even you can see it's get shrink. If you increase the temperature, what is going out? The hydrophobic mean water, they can remove the water. They don't like the water. Therefore, it's a protein getting tougher and they coagulate and getting smaller and smaller, right? Hydrophobic interaction, then remove the water. Redox status, oxidized or reduced status will be there, and it is also once you add some because oxidation can be happen in the protein because the amino acids are the basic molecule of the protein. Therefore, those oxidation can be happen to the protein, right? They can go for a different oxidation status. The other one is salts. Salts are the kind of ions. Once you put the ions, salt or the potassium chloride or whatever the ions, then you can see the salting in and salting out. The salting in and salting out is the word we are using, but especially here we consider about the protein, the ion concentration. The other thing is a solvent type, alcohol, buffer, water, promotes protein-water interaction or protein-protein interaction, which gives more aggregation, right? So if there is a protein-protein interaction increase, aggregation is increased. If the protein-water interaction is increased, solubility is increased. So if you are putting the buffer, alcohol and water, you can see the solubility increase. And if you put the other different one, then you can see the protein-protein interaction increase. Then that means aggregation increase. Other minor constituents are carbohydrates, lipids, phenolics, and they can make cross-links with the protein because if they are having sulfur bonds, if they are having the hydrogen bonds or the different type of thing can make a phenolics also. You know that the OH group is there, that OH is very easily donate to the other one. So therefore that protein can join those things with the as a hydrogen bonding or other linkages, right? Therefore, the other minor constituent available in the protein, not the minor constituent we are adding outside from the protein, will be changing the structure or the function of the protein. Now you can see by by thinking about these two things, intrinsic factors, there are 7 factors, and extrinsic factors, there are again 6 factors. Now altogether there are 13 factors can be changed the functionality of the protein. There are more other factors, processing factors, the heating, cooling, freezing, drying, concentration, storage, shear forces, and the pressure and chemical or enzymatic modification. So those things also can change the protein functionality. Now you can see the 13, and there are also that the 8 factors. Then altogether there are 21 factors can change the protein functionality, right? So normally we are not using only one thing together. Normally we when we prepare the food matrix, we are using different factors together, and thereby we can get the whatever the structure we want for the food matrix, right? Are you clear up to this point, students? Do you need to explain the processing factors more and more detail in detail? So can't you hear me?
Yeah, madam.
You can hear, right? Concentration factor, right? For example, now think about the heating, cooling. You can understand just heat and cool, right? Freezing, ice crystal damage. For the you can understand these two. The concentration means, so to do the concentration, what can we do? We have to concentration mean we can reduce the concentration and increase the concentration by changing the water, whatever the H2O molecule available there, because always concentration depending the H2O molecule, whether we are getting more thing together or whether we are going to less thing together. Or therefore the concentration means we remove the water. We can remove the water in different way. Sometimes we can heat it, or without using the heat even we can by giving the heat we can remove the water as a water vapor. However, in the other, however we remove the water from the system by using the water vapor. If not so, we can concentrate it by for example, let's think about the water, the milk, even the milk. So if you are actually, sometimes if you are getting the cream separator, you know what is the cream separator? Have you worked with the cream separator of the, when we prepare the yogurt? We use the cream separator, right? So what we do there? What we do there in the cream separator? So we remove the cream part or the lipid part from the yogurt. Therefore, once we remove that some portion from that milk or the protein, then you can concentrate the rest of the protein together. So that is the concentration we can do. So one example. Not only that one, in a different way we can do the concentration. Especially we talk about the protein, but in the other case, even that when we prepare the protein, isolated protein. So we can isolate the protein itself from whatever the protein mixture, or the whatever the mixture of the other component. For example, in the case of concentration, we can do. So if you are using if you are changing the pH even, you can do the concentration, because you can get the precipitate, and once you remove the other liquid, then get the precipitate, and if you add some water, then you can get the concentrated protein. So that is the way we can get the concentration. Then storage, normally when we are using the time and storage, especially gelation network improve by this one. And the shear forces, the making whipping, denature fibers, and finally protein fibers, and not the carbohydrate fibers, denature the protein fibers, and they can entrap the air, or they can entrap different type of thing together by using the shear forces. And the other one is pressure, can be break down the hydrogen bonding, chemical enzyme dequalification, and also hydrolyze the protein, nutrition purposes, and different functional groups. Are you clear about the processing factors now? Right. Clear or not? Now, altogether there are 21 factors: intrinsic, extrinsic, and the processing factors. Therefore, if I have asked the question about how these things are working to change the protein molecule and change the functionality of for the functionality of the protein, then you will be able to explain it. In some situation, you are not picking 5 points out of that. Or even I can give the essay question by using essay question only from this part, right? Can you answer it? So the feedback is very, very poor, right? And also the student present, the Madhava, again, that the students' participation is very low. If not so, I will not going for a Zoom meeting, because I need not to explain much, because students are not there. I don't know their responses, and so this situation, I have to take another action. So then you have to stay home, and later on you can, once you come to the university, you can learn. It's up to you. Or if not, so I will put the narrated PPTs, and sometimes you may happy about that. Which one do you like? Any question up to now regarding these factors changing the protein functionality? Are you clear?
Yes, madam.
Now, now shall we discuss about the protein denaturation. So, protein denaturation you have learned under the PFS module. Denaturation is a major change in the native structure that does not involve alteration of the amino acids. So, this one is very important, because denaturation does not mean that we are changing or alter the amino acid sequences. Amino acid sequences are there in the basic structure, right? Primary, secondary, tertiary, and quaternary. But we change this structure, but amino acid composition we are not going to change. So the amino acid sequences, you can find out. There are some methods we can learn. We can get the information about amino acid sequences, and you have to know those. I think better to search those things and get some idea. Changes the molecular structure without breaking any peptide bonds of a protein is a protein denaturation. Changes the molecular structure without breaking any peptide bonds of protein. Now, if we are not going to break down the peptide bonds, that means basic structure is there. Basic structure is there, but we are altering the structure, altering its behavior. We are altering the behavior, but we are not going to change the structure, because the structure we are not going to change. Therefore, the molecular structure without breaking any peptide bond of a protein exposes buried or reactive sites, including hydrophobic or the R group. What we do is we exposes the because we know that there are buried site. So when think about that, the making the globular protein or the tertiary protein. So have you noticed that the hydrophobic ones get together and hydrophilic ones are in the surrounded? Therefore, the buried sites mean that those sites are, we expose those sites, expose buried reactive sites, including hydrophobic R groups, right? So think about that the amino acids are joining with the different amino acids in the peptide line, and then those are getting in different features, and R groups are getting together, and OH or the other one, the hydrophilic ones are different way, and those hydrophilic one can work with the or join with the water. But here we expose denaturation, means we expose the hydrophobic R groups. This process is peculiar to proteins and affect different proteins to different degrees depending on the structure of a protein. Now this protein denaturation, this changing is affecting in a different way to the different protein, because different protein is having different buried site. The number of buried sites, or the amount, the large, or the size of the different size of the size of this reactive sites is different. So size or the charge or the type of these reactive sites are different. Therefore, accordingly, proteins will be affected in a different degrees. We can't say that the protein in the milk is affected in the same way. Protein in the milk proteins or milk meat proteins, or fish protein, or the soy plant protein, or the plant protein also. There are different type of protein, and those are affecting in a different degrees for this protein denaturation situation. For example, you know that in the case of egg, right? So you need them to introduce very small temperature, then you can see that the protein coagulated already. So you just need to put the protein egg to the pan, heated pan. You can see that it's coagulated. Denaturation happen. But if you put the fresh fish to the pan, that pan is heated into the same temperature. Can you see it's just quickly get the denatured? No. If you put the meat, can you see it like that? No. And if you put the milk, can you see it in the same heating temperature? Can you see it? No. If the plant, let's say soy, you put it there, you can't see. Therefore, you can see that the peculiar to the this process is peculiar to the protein, specialized to the protein, and affects different proteins to different degrees. Most functional properties of food proteins, example gelation, forming, emulsification, require some denaturation as to expose reactive groups, right? When we talk about the gelation, we want to expose that reactive sites, the require some denaturation to expose the reactive groups. So what will happen with the reactive groups? The hydrophobic reactive sites will be exposed, the buried bun will be exposed. Then once they expose, they will start working in a different way, right? Because outside we give some kind of a change environment, we change the environment. That is why they start acting in a different way by as a reaction to the situation. That situation we use to very quickly and very it's getting what's the advantage to our side, then we use it to produce a different food matrix, right? So in the next week, or sometimes in this Monday, or in the weekend, we will give you the other assignment to you. That is that how you have to, we introduce you, or give the number of products. So you have to do the presentation about the product, how that the food matrix of this product is behaving. So how it's water in that product is behaving, how the carbohydrates, how the protein, what is the action of the additives. You have done some assignment in the beginning. Those time you don't know what is happening there. What's this and this, the additives are there, proteins are there, sugars are there, or the product is there. But now the time being, you are learning what is action in this way. Protein act is different. It's not similar to the water, not similar to the lipids, not similar to the carbohydrate. It's a unique changing or unique function. So how those things are supporting to come out with their product, right? So therefore, the most functional properties of food proteins require some denaturation as to expose reactive groups or unfold in the protein, right? For example, gelation, unfolding, and then entrapment. Forming, unfolding, and entrap air. Then formation, and the emulsification also denaturation, exposed reactive groups, and that exposed reactive group can combine with the water in one side and the lipid with the other side. Then protein can act as emulsifier. So those things you will be understand the protein, what are the advantages of the protein denaturation. If I ask the question, you have to answer by giving the example and explaining these points. Right? Are you clear then what is the importance of the protein denaturation? It's a major change in the native structure that does not involve alteration of the amino. That structure will be changed, but amino acid sequence not be changed. That is why once you fry the egg, so the same nutritional composition or nutrient you can get to your body. If you fry the meat, you can get the same nutrients. So in relation to the protein. if you cook the fish, if you fry the fish even, so you can get the similar type of, or the more or less same nutrient to your body. So what is the denaturation? So it is the normal protein is having the biological active, because it's buried their reactive sites, and it's in a different situation. But denaturation means, so you have you have exposed the reactive site, and sometimes that some actions, the hydrogen bond can be break down, sulfur bonds can be break down, or the van der Waals bonds can be break down, and likewise, so the biologically what it has can be changed. Especially you think that when you can understand very clearly in that point, think about the enzymes. If you heat the enzyme, so what will happen? If you heat the enzyme, what will happen? You know that the enzymes are not working anymore, because it's a biological activity biological activity is changed, because it's a buried sites are exposed, and totally the structure is how it is get together. It's a globular, what is the normal structure is changed, normal protein change. But amino acids, that you can see that the band is there, or ribbon is there, but not in a similar way. That is why enzyme activity will be changed very quickly if you change the temperature. The denaturation protein can be brought about by variety of agents. So because you know that the functionality is supported by the 21 factors I explained earlier. Similarly, think about that. Denaturation can be brought about by variety of agents. Agents means, what are the agents from the outside we can add to the protein? The heat, most important, causes the destruction of the enzyme activity. So the heat and the pH, destabilizing salts, urea, surface effects, whipping, pressure, solvents. Those are few factors we discuss here, which can be changed the denatured protein structure. Denaturation usually involves loss of biological activity and significant changes in some physical or functional properties, such as solubility, or usually non-reversible. In some situations, this denaturation usually involves loss of biological activity, which can't be reversed. Once you open it, you can't reverse it. You can't get that protein structure back. But however, as the amino acids are not changed, our body need amino acid. So such a protein, even once we consume, we can get the enough nutrients, right? It is not changed. Therefore, the denaturation usually involves loss of biological activity and significant changes in some physical and functional properties, such as solubility, right? You can see that how solubility can be changed by changing the pH. How solubility can be changed by adding the salt. How solubility can be changed by sulfuric, or so the mechanical. If we give the mechanical agitation, what happen? Whipping. What will happen if you put the pressure? What will happen if you add the alcohol? What will happen if you add the heat? So when you think about that, take smaller products, or meat, or the fish, or the soy, or the milk, or the different type of protein. Then you can think about, if we add these things, what will happen. Fine. Let's go forward. And heat denaturation sometimes are desirable. Now earlier we discussed about the denaturation process is happening. Therefore, usually it's involved in the loss of biological activity. Sometimes the change in the biological activity, you think, oh, protein is no more good to for consumption. You may think like that, and solubility is going on, and now it is getting hard, and the kind of thing you can think. But yes, Shani, do you have any question? You can unmute your phone and answer the question, Ushani.
Madam,
Yeah.
How can the urea affect denaturation process happening?
So what is, have you remember the structure of the urea, Shani?
Yes.
Right. What is the basic important characteristics of the urea? I mean, not the structure, I mean characteristic of the physical characteristic or the chemical characteristic of urea.
Chemical.
Yeah. Urea is what kind of what kind of nature having the urea? Don't tell me that it's the small white color granules on the beads කියලා කියන්න එපා. Urea කියන්නේ මොකක්ද අපි ඇත්තටම?
Basic stuff.
Oh.
Basic
Urea is
nature.
basic nature. Right. Urea is a very strong salt, right? Basic nature. So it's the if you add the urea, actually it can be break down the protein. Protein can be I mean that the urea can dissolve the protein. Some proteins can dissolve by the urea, or the because it can bind with the protein and it can remove the protein from the system, right? I mean that the how I can say that it's a bit advanced. Okay, the later on you can let's learn about this what is the action of the urea. So right, okay, I will explain you later on. Now we can continue.
Thank you, madam.
Right, okay, right. Therefore the you should right, let's come to the heat denaturation. Sometimes desirable. So what is the desirable function of the heat denaturation? It's a denaturation of whey protein for the production of powder used in baking, right? It's a whey protein for the production of milk powder used. Right, okay. Production of milk powder used in baking. So here actually normally we can say it's the denaturation of whey protein for the production of milk powder used in baking is a kind of a desirable. The whey protein is having a different structure. So write down there. The next question is what is the component or the in the whey protein? What are the basically what amino acids are available in the whey protein, right? And what is the characteristic of amino acid in whey protein? What are the amino acids and what are the characteristics of amino acid? Because you have learned earlier in previous lecture that there are some amino acids are having a different type of basic or the acidic or neutral, hydrophilic, hydrophobic kind of thing. And think about get some information about this amino acid structure, and then learn about this amino acid structure. Thereby you can understand that the denaturation of whey protein for the production of milk powder used in baking, right? Therefore baking means we use a very high temperature. Normally when we use the high temperature, protein will be denatured, though it's a changing. But in the case of in the whey protein, that when we in the milk powder, even in the baking, even these proteins are not changing. But not all the things, but few proteins are there due to the amino acid structure of that protein, or amino acid involving to make that protein structure. Second point is protein of egg white are readily denatured by heat and by surface forces when egg white is whipped to a foam. The other one, egg white are readily denatured by a heat. So therefore you can eat it, you can fry it, you can boil it, you can make an omelette, or you can add that egg white to different the bakery products, or the different type of, or the let's say the vatlappam pudding, or the different type of product producing, you use egg white. Why? It's readily denatured by heat and by surface forces when egg white is whipped to the other one is the when you use the surface forces, you can make a whipped cream, or you can make a foam because it can entrap the air. Entrap the air and keep as it is. So that is that nature we can use to go for a different type of food matrix, for producing food matrix. The third point is meat proteins are denatured in the temperature range 57 to 75 degrees, which has profound effect on texture, water holding capacity and shrinkage. Now think about the meat proteins, the sausage or the chicken or beef or the pork or lamb or whatever the protein. What will happen? If once you increase the protein, increase the temperature, it's a total effect to its texture, right? And water holding capacity, you can see that this dry nature will be increased once you introduce the heat, and also the shrinkage can be happen because the fibrous nature of the protein getting shrinkage due to the heat, denatured. The denatured means sometimes you may think that all that the buried side exposed and the trapped or the shrinked that ribbon nature will be enlarged, and now ribbons are open and now its length is high. Therefore, you may think that once you don't think that once you heat it, the protein will be enlarged. No, it's a shrinkage. It's happening. It's getting more and more because of what is not there now, it's getting shrink. Because whatever the entrapped water or the bound water, whatever thing can remove or can release from the protein. Therefore, it's getting shrinkage, right? So you can see if you heat the meat block or a piece of meat on the pan, you can see the water is going out. And when you heat the milk protein, even if you heat up to the 100 centigrade, it's okay. But if you are heated for a longer period, you can see protein coagulate and water going out. So what's happening? Water holding capacity decrease, and therefore the shrinkage is happening. Earlier in the milk, protein can go everywhere, nothing happen. So once it denatured, that it's get shrink, and therefore water is going one side, and the protein is going other side. So they are the heat denaturing. Sometimes this happen, but these these effects we are using for the different type of product manufacturing. That is important. Therefore, you have to think about what are the products available in the market, and then think about because of the heating, heat is supported for us to come out with this type of a product. So think about that because you have ample time now. You need not to come to the university when you are at home. Therefore, you can search and find out get the notes. The next point is denaturation may result in flocculation of globular protein and may lead to the formation of gel. Flocculation of globular protein and may lead to the formation of gel. That the denaturation is it's a floccular, it's a getting together, and when it's getting globular protein is getting together, it's automatically entrap the water. That is why the gels are, this is the way that gels are forming, right? And because you have seen that the different earlier the gelatin is a very small bead types one. Once you put the water to there, and when you heat it, it's open up, it's a buried side, and later on once you keep it the time and the storage temperature is support to flocculate the globular protein, and thereby it's can form as a gel. Third point is it's another third point, right? Right. Next point is protein denaturation and coagulation are aspects of heat stability can be related to the amino acid composition and sequence of the protein. In some situation, protein denaturation and coagulation are aspects of heat stability, and because of this heating, that the coagulation is happened, and therefore that coagulation is support for aspects of a heat stability can be related to the amino acid. It's related to the amino acid composition definitely, and sequence of the protein. That denaturation and coagulation are supporting for product development. Can you let me know some few examples for the denaturation and coagulation? How those things are supporting? Example, product. Give some products as an example. I mentioned that in the first slide, first point, second point, I mentioned. Another example for third point. Let me know. If the points goes into your mind, then definitely you can give some answers. Protein denaturation and coagulation are aspects of heat stability. Can be related to the amino acid composition and sequence of the protein. No answer? Yasara, please note down the question, right?
Okay, madam.
Yeah, then next time we can give the assignment. Cheese. Good answer, cheese. What else? Cheese and cheese-like products. Tofu. Yeah. Tofu. Tofu is we get from plant soy protein. Right. What else? In most of the products, pudding, yes. Right. Actually, here that the protein denaturation is happen and coagulation are aspects of the heat stability. And puddings, tofu, cheese, and sometimes in some even that in the case of sausage even, so because of the coagulation heat stability, you can get that sausage structure. If not, so you can't get it, right? Am I correct? Or can you understand that? So sausage is a kind of a mixture of the meat. We do not do it. We are not introduce any kind of heat during the sausage processing. But once you process the sausage, and then when you insert it to that casing and get the structure of the sausage structure or sausage the physical structure, you can see that the long and roll type structure, and then only we subject it to the heat, right? Therefore, you can get the rubbery nature of the sausage and the very mouthfeel effect, and you can cut it once from your teeth, because this structure is coming because of this situation, right? Coagulation aspects of heat stability. Now you know the answers, and then think about okay, what will happen to the protein inside these products. Effect of heat usually involves a change in the tertiary structure leading to a less ordered arrangement of the polypeptide chains, right? Heat usually involves a change in the tertiary structure leading to a less ordered arrangement. If it is ordered arranged, you can see this type of structure. If it is less ordered arranged, then of the polypeptide chain, then you can come out with the different structure. That is why it's orderly arranged. You can see this structure. If it is not orderly arranged, then you can see different structure, shrinkages, or you can see that especially if you are too much boiled the fish or meat, you can see that the structure will be breakdown and pieces are coming out, and even in the case of you can get the pieces out from the even fish. So once the fish is cooked, you can take the pieces out. And even that these things are happening, it usually involves a change in tertiary structure, disordered arrangement of the polypeptide change. Right? That is why if the disordered orderly arranged, therefore the buried sites are coming out. It can be combined with the other one, linked with the other one. Different bonding can be happen with the other one. The temperature range in which denaturation and coagulation of most proteins takes place at about 55 to 75. So the other answer is for these other example for these 2 points. First 2 points is the enzymes leading to disordered arrangement and polypeptide chain. Therefore, the action will be leucine. Final point is a casein and gelatin are example of proteins that can boil without apparent change in stability. Casein and gelatin are example of protein that can boil without apparent change in stability because casein is stable in a very high temperature. Right? So if I ask the question that what is the reason for casein and gelatin are having in the high temperature, casein and gelatin are not giving a apparent change in stability. So what's the reason? So therefore, all the time you have to think about what is the reason for each and every point, and what are the examples for these things. So the final point, how we this important aspect we use positively in food industry or food matrix development. You have to think about that, right? What the third point is positively used in the food industry for development of the new food matrix. So that is the way we are coming out with the different type of food structures. Normally people do different type of product development. Sometimes they don't learn about the food chemistry. But if you learn about the food chemistry, if you know how the things are working inside the product, then you can use this knowledge in a very positively for the formation or designing your new food material. Right? So in the big companies, especially let's say now chocolate companies of Cadbury, or the milk companies like Fonterra or the Nestle, and different big companies, mega companies in the world, they are not just developing the products. They do a lot of experiments. All the food scientists and food chemists are involving in the product development, especially food technologists. So without using the food technologists, they are not developing any product like it's not a home science. Therefore, they know that what is going on inside the structure. The thinking about the food chemistry through the food chemistry, they can see new products. That is why those products are having good market, good stability, good consumer demand, and good storage, shelf life, and it's stable for different temperatures. A lot of things are there because they think about the product through the food chemistry. Right? So really difficult, but you have to practice your mind. I know that the many foods, almost all food students, nowadays they are involving in food product development. So now you know about the water, now you know about the protein. Later on, you can think about the carbohydrate and lipid. Therefore, basically you can get the design, but once you fine tuning your product, definitely you have to think about this thing. How these each and every molecules interact with each other to come out this kind of product. Then what will happen to the texture, what will happen to the appearance, what will happen to the aroma, what will happen to the product shelf life. So you have to think about that. Then let's come to the environmental effects on protein quality. Right? The environment can exert profound changes on the functionality and nutritional quality of the protein. Now we are talking about the nutritional quality of the protein. Right? Environmental effects on protein quality. Degradative reactions can result from the processing of storage environment, which can cause undesirable changes in protein. So what are those undesirable changes? The degradative reactions, not the normal denaturation reaction. Right? Here, degradative reaction can result from the processing of storage environment, processing or storage environment which can cause undesirable changes in protein. As a result of these reactions, protein can exhibit loss in functionality, losses in nutritional quality, increased risk of toxicity, and desirable and undesirable flavor changes. Now, environmental effect mean, so let me know what are the environmental effects, how it can be happen, type some answers. What are the environmental effects we mentioned? What are the environmental effects? We change the environment. How we can change the environment? Freeze burning, change protein. Temperature changes. Right. The question is, I will answer the question, Fatima, later on. Temperature, pH, radiation. Radiation is totally changing, right? It's a DNA changing is going on there. Adding salt. What else? Right. Then the environment can, the losses in functionality. So functionality, what are the functional properties of the protein? What are the functional properties? Now you learn about the functional properties. Functionality of the protein will be changed. What are the basic functionalities? Because you have learned those under the food chemistry, food BFS. What are the functionalities? Solubility, yes. Emulsification, yes. Forming ability, yes. And gelation, yes. Right. Those things are the specific solubility, then hydrophobicity and forming effect. Those things are the functionality, right? Then the solubility can be changed. Then solubility can be changed. Then coagulation effect can be changed, or coagulation or the especially let's see, hydrophobicity effect can be changed. So those are the functionality, right? And then the nutrition quality can be changed. This is in nutrition quality. How nutrition quality can be changed? Because up to now we have talked about that the denaturation is not supporting for denaturation is not effect for the nutritional quality, because amino acid is there as it is. But now I am telling that okay, environmental effects can be changed the nutritional quality. Then if it is the nutritional quality can be changed, so what will happen to the product? What will happen to the amino acids? Because nutritional quality can be changed, amino acids can be destroyed. Then how that amino acids can be destroyed? Or go away from the system, or remove from the system. Remove කියන්නේ මේ pick කරලා එළියට කොහොම දාන්නේ නැහැ, right? මේ එකක් ගන්නවා කවුද පණුව අහුලනවා වගේ නෑ අර කුරුල්ලෝ. Nutritional quality අයින් කරනවා කියලා amino acid අයින් කරන්නේ. Then what's happening here? How it can be changed the nutritional quality? Give me your answer. Give me an answer. Breaking peptide bonds. Breaking peptide bonds. Denaturing fibers during shear forces is not changing the nutritional quality. Shear forces breaking the protein fibers, but proteins are there. It is not effect for amino acid changes. Okay, give more answers. Until you give the answers, I'm not going to continue this lecture from this point onwards. Protein quality changes by reducing essential acids. Changes by reducing essential amino acids. Yes, how it can be happen? Extent of absorption changes due to the change in structure. Secondary bonds. alter structure of amino acids by binding with compounds. ටිකක් ළඟට ඇවිත් තියෙනවා. Bioavailability of protein can be changed. How? Bioavailability can be changed. How it can be happen? Sandhini, what's your question? What's your question? Please ask.
Sorry, madam.
Yeah. Sorry. නිකන්ද? අතිස්. එසනේ පරිකම් මට උත්තරේ දෙන්න. දැන් කියන්න උත්තරේ සඳනි ඔයා මොකද හිතන්නේ? What is your answer? අතිස් එකේ කියන්න. Answer එක කියන්න. මොකක්ද answer එක? What do you think? යා වැරදි වෙන්න පුළුවන් answers. ක්ලාස් එකේ හිටියනම් කොහොමද නැගිටින්න වෙනවනේ කට්ටිය. හැංගිලා හරි ඉන්න පුළුවන්නේ. Bioavailability of protein can be changes or changed. No. What will happen? දැන් මේ ඉගෙන ගත්ත එකක්මයි මේක ඔයගොල්ලන් previous එකදී. හැබැයි now I am talking in a different depth. දැන් මේක උඩින් කියන්නේ නැහැ surface කියන්නේ නැහැ ඔයගොල්ලන්ට. මම මේකට උත්තරය අහන්නේ depth එකෙන්. එතකොට උත්තරේ දී ගන්න බෑ. ඒක තමයි ඔයගොල්ලන්ගේ තියෙන ප්‍රශ්නේ. ටියු ගන්න වැරද්ද ඔයගොල්ලෝ ඉගෙන ගන්න වැරද්ද දන්නේ නැහැ. nutrition quality loss වෙන්න පුළුවන් කොහොමද? bioavailability එක නෙවෙයි උත්තරේ. How it can be happen? The answers තිබ්බා කීපයක්ම. breaking peptide bonds කිව්වා. denature fibers during shear forces කිව්ව නැහැ උත්තරේ. protein quality changes by reducing essential amino acids. Reducing essential amino acids. Reducing mean you are meaning here the reducing oxidation කියන එකද? Reducing Madhusha Nilanka. What is the extent of absorption changes due to the changes in structure secondary bonds? නැහැ. After structure of amino acids මේක හරිය ලේසි උත්තරයක්. Acids by binding with various compounds. මේක ඒ උත්තරේ හරි binding with various compounds උත්තරේ හරි. No madam, I mean removing from the system. How it can be removed from the system? Removing from the system mean අයින් කරලා එළියට ඇදලා දාන්න නෑ මේකෙදි. නමුත් Vichakshi, can you explain it? Vichakshi, I think you can explain it. Let's hear your voice.
I think various compound, the large polarity, these things can be changed.
Polarity. Polarity එක වෙන්නේ නැහැ මෙතනදී. Polarity change එකක් නෙමෙයි වෙන්නේ, but please try. There are some students, 42 students, at least 40 students are there. Please try. Non-enzymatic browning reaction. Ramia. Yeah, right. The answer came. Right. Yes, you have learned about the non-enzymatic reaction, Browning reaction, or you know about the Maillard reaction. So the Maillard reaction means definitely amino acids will be combined with these sugars and going away from the system. So I mentioned this thing again earlier when I talk with the protein, water even. So that is the nutritional quality will be decreased. So you can see that the burn or the brown color nature of the brown color nature of the bread or the bakery products and different type of products, because the sugar and protein get bind each other, and therefore we learn about the lysine losses happen, right? So those lysines are available in the wheat flour, and therefore the nutritional quality of this lysine losing happen. Therefore nutritional quality will be losing. Likewise, that the some Maillard browning or some, because of the reaction going on only, that nutritional quality will be down. If not so, the other things will not support for changing the protein quality of the product, right? Or the shear force, or the just boiling, or just what's the agitation, or the foaming, whipping, nothing. It's there. And the pH changes, nothing happen. But only these reactions are, if the reactions are going on, then nutrition quality is going on, because that for that reaction, that protein is linked with the other compound and form a different type of molecules. Therefore, the risk of toxicity will be increased, because forming this polymer, and that polymer change to another one, it must change with another one. Finally, it will end up with the toxic compounds. That is why the risk of toxicity will be increased. Desirable and undesirable flavor changes also can be happen, because if it is the let's say now caramelization, sorry, not the caramelization, the very when the toxic compound, very polymer compounds will be formed in this system, then definitely flavor can be changed, because those compounds giving a different type of aromas, different type of flavors will be there. The desirable effect also there, as well as because the bakery product, the desirable aroma, color, those things are really we happy to consume. But in the case of undesirable flavors also happening, because going on, these changes are going on. So some people, they like to eat that the brown color part, not the black color. හොඳටම පිච්චුන පාන්ගෙඩි උඩ එහෙම සමහරක් අය නම් කන්නේ නැහැනේ කොහොමන්නේ කපලා දානවනේ. ගා බ්‍රවුන් කලර් නම් කළු පාට නම් කන්නේ නැහැනේ. and තිත්තයි නේ කනිත් එක නේද? තිත්තයි කට නිකන් අමුතුයි කාරණා වගේ ඒ වගේ එනවා අර. So undesirable flavors, undesirable taste, right? And appearance also you sometimes undesirable. The coke type නේද? කළු වෙලා කාබන් වෙලා වගේ. Right, now you can understand, as the results of this reaction, protein can exhibit functionality, loss of functionality, loss of nutritional quality, increased risk of toxicity, and desirable and undesirable flavor changes. So they can be happen, right? So here the environmental effect means you what are the environmental effects? So you listed out many things. So these things can be changed the situation. The environmental changes that can adversely affect protein include heat in the presence and absence of carbohydrate, and heat in the presence and absence of carbohydrate. And because in some cases, protein, if the heat is there, you can see that it's a kind of, you can't eat that thing, very tough nature. Then, අපි හිතමු මේ මස් කෑල්ලක් හරි මාළු කෑල්ලක් හරි ඔයා fry කරනවා in the deep frying. So if you use the very high temperature of the heat temperature, it will become to the let's say කරගතියෙන් යුක්ත කන්න බැරි කළු පාට තිත්ත රස එන අමුතුම product එකක් වෙනවා නේද? So you can see that. Therefore, the heat in the presence and absence of the carbohydrate, the presence of the carbohydrate, even you can go for a Maillard reaction. Absence of the carbohydrate, even that the product will be totally changed, and finally you can eat it. You can't eat it. So adverse effect can be there if you not control the heat in a proper way. Extremes in pH, or the particularly very alkaline situation, even the proteins will be, you can't consume. Exposure to oxidative condition caused by light and caused by oxidizing lipids, because the protein, even the amino acids are, the peptide bonds and these things are there, but always that the protein is having the tail. That tail is having, maybe it's a lipid one, or the lipid maybe, or the carbohydrate, or any other type of thing. The tail can be different type of thing. You study that, right? amino acid structure එක හරියට study කරන්න. එතකොට ඔයගොල්ලන්ට මේක හොඳට තේරෙනවා. double bond තියෙනවා නම් it can be affected by the caused by the light. So UV or the high nitrogenous compounds can attack the double bond and break down the double bond. Accordingly, that its oxidation condition can be changed. It can produce the radicals, right? Therefore, the caused by light and caused by the oxidizing lipids, because oxidizing lipids, you have learned some about the principles of food science. Therefore, you know oxidizing lipids are the O double O radicals are there, double O radicals. O radicals definitely can oxidize lipids definitely can combine with the or attack to the protein molecule. Now these are the reactions going on, right? These are the reaction, not just the changes. Therefore, these things are reaction. The environmental changes that can adversely affect the protein include these things. Nutrients are destroyed when food are processing because they are sensitive to pH of solvent or sensitive to oxygen, light, heat, or combination of those. So the nutrients are destroyed when foods are processed because of they are this situation. If the solvent pH of solvent is a really effective or the change, then that amino acid breakdown can be happen, not just a denaturing. And those situation, it gives the plus minus effect, and then therefore it can bind with different compounds sensitive to oxygen, light, and heat. The other one is the amino acid composition of food protein is of fundamental importance in determining nutrition quality and functionality. Right, therefore, the amino acid composition of food protein is of fundamental importance in determining nutrition quality and functionality. Nutrition quality is depending, because if we are subjecting to the protein to the different environmental changes, the adverse changes, definitely your product will be not your product protein in the product will be changed with the losing in the system. The other one is therefore the nutritional quality will be changed, and the other one is the functionality also change. Therefore, when we talk about the protein amino acid structure ඔළුවේ ටක් ගාලා මෙවෙන්න ඕනේ ඔයගලන්ට. then the cobular protein primary secondary tertiary quadrant කියන එක ටක් ගාලා මෙවෙන්න ඕනේ. ඔළුවට වැදිලා තියෙන්න ඕනේ. නැත්තම් ගන්න බෑ. functionality කියපු ගමන් මොනවාද functionalities කියලා ටක් ගාලා ඒක ඔළුවේ තියෙන්න ඕනේ. If those things are in your mind, then definitely you can link with each other. මෙහෙම කරගත්තා ටක් ගාලා උත්තරේ you can get it. ඒක නිසා food chemistry is really important. So the once you see the product, so you will be able to understand these kind. Once you see the ingredient list, even you can understand how these kind of things are there. That is how you can get this kind of nature, this kind of color, this kind of structure, and the taste, aroma. ඔක්කොම ටික උදේ බැඳෙන්න ඕනේ. ඒක තමයි food chemistry. ඒක ඉගෙන ගත්ත දවසේ ඔයගොල්ලෝ food chemistry පාස් හරිද? Right. Influence of processing on protein. So let's shall we stop today, because I think today up to we have discussed very few slides, but though we discussed very few slides, I think you learn a lot. I think ගොඩක් ඔළුවේ තියෙනවා කියලා මම හිතනවා.